Welcome back to the Nichole Show. Today, we're exploring how sex magic can transform your relationships and elevate your life. Curious, I hope you guys are. So in this session, we're going to tackle the disconnect that many feel between their own sexual energies and overall well-being, which leads into unfulfillment. Our challenges include overcoming societal taboos, integrating sexual energy into our daily life, and breaking free from limiting beliefs. Joining us is Cara West, a love, sex, and relationship coach who helps individuals and couples harness their sexual energy and to manifest their desires. Cara is also mine and Abs's coach. She is a beautiful, beautiful human. We'll dive into the practice of sex magic, its impact on relationships, and how connecting with your body can bring more joy and intimacy. By the end, you'll have new insights, practical tips to embrace your desires without shame. So let's get started. Welcome aboard The Nichole Show with host Nichole Hamilton. Our task is to educate, empower, and change lives. Join us for stories of resilience and rebirth. Honest talks that inspire and challenge you. Are you ready to make a move? It begins now. Welcome back, guys, to the Nichole Show. And week by week, recording by recording, we are just getting juicier and more vulnerable, and the more layers are coming off. And today I am very grateful to have not only a mentor and my own relationship coach on, Cara West. She is a love, sex, and relationship coach. So I'm super excited to dive deep with where this conversation today is going to go. So welcome, Cara.
Hello, Nichole. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. We have connected in the relationship world. And, I think I was honestly first captivated by you at the Riverdale's Goodness Me Festival when you did that sex magic, beautiful, holding space that at the festival there. And that was just divine to see you on stage and speaking your truth and, taking off the layers and shedding the joy that you can have in every single aspect. And you were wearing this beautiful little halo, and I can feel the tingles now because you're just such an energetic being. And so, yeah, I'm super excited to enlighten some of the listeners here about sex, magic, energetics, relationships. So if you were to pick one of those, like, where does your heart want to start expressing some stuff today to our beautiful listeners? What are we gonna go into?
Yeah, what jumped out the most to me as the most exciting direction to go to is sex magic. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go there. Let's go to sex magic. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. And to me, look, standing up on stage and even speaking about sex is not a direction I thought I would ever find myself in, but it just kind of unfolded in my lap organically, and that's the path I'm on. Actually, I have the halo in the next room. I'm bummed I didn't put it on for you. Just to give everyone a quick synopsis, a brief understanding of what sex magic is. It was something that was introduced to me by one of my mentors, Layla Martin, and it is a embodied manifestation technique. So everything that has ever been created, everything that's birthed, everything that's moved through a creation portal, whether it's art or abundance or anything you've called into your life, has done so through sexual energy. Like if you look outside your window, everything living has got here through sexual energy. It's the birds and bees and like that. So we really look at harnessing that sexual energy and really getting our desires into our body, because if there's something that we want that we don't have yet, there's going to be part of us that's blocking us from getting it. because we are innately worthy of having all of our desires. We were given our desires on purpose. And if there's something we want we don't yet have, it's because we've learned somewhere along the way that we're not worthy of it. Maybe we have this belief that we won't be safe if we have it. And there's different protector aspects of us that come up and prohibit us from having this thing. So when we do manifestation in this embodied way, harnessing our sexual energy, raising it up through each chakra, and then sending that energy out into the universe and letting blessings rain down on us, it really pulls this desire into our system in a way that talking about it just doesn't do. Because talking about it only accesses part of our brain, but our brain only resides in such a small part of our being. We have so much more on offer and so much more of our body. So that's what sex magic is. I love another aspect of it. I think that all we need to do to heal our whole society from the trauma that is a residual effect of sexual abuse is simply heal our sexual shame as a society. And I think that the way to do that is just create more spaces where we can talk about sex in a comfortable, organic, natural feeling way. And I believe in my heart that that's really all we need. So sex magic is just another portal for me to do that. So
I love that. I absolutely adore that. I have been really called to share all parts of me, because of this, not just this podcast, but, I feel like I've lived 9 lives here. They're so diverse. And I know personally, if I am not looking after my sexual energy, my goddess, my divine, dark femme, then my business suffers, my relationship suffers, the way that I show up. If I am denying that part of me because I'm tired or unfulfilled or whatever else, it does roll out. And so, I've actually worked with, quite a few, couples, relationship coaches and sex therapists over the years. It's something that I work with women with, but it's not something I'm known for. I normally work with kids and then families and mothers in hens. And so being able to talk about that now, because it's all combined. It's all combined. You shouldn't compartmentalize. And I believe that as women, we have been told these stories. We have been led to believe that, once we have this partner and these kids, that there's a certain part of us that we just don't access anymore. That was for your 20s, or that was for, then. But denying that part, I'm 43 now. I'm just really resurfacing and, sharing the pole dancing and the love of my body and the connection that I have with all human beings. And I love that sex magic really encompasses that, because yes, you're right. Like if we're denying any one of those chakras, any one of the energetics, and not bringing it, all the way through us, then we, that is our own block. So I hope that's given some people some curiosity about it, because it's not just, where people think, talking about sex is wrong or dirty or uncomfortable. The more we open these conversations in a safe place, then exactly like you said, the more we heal, the more we we energetically connect. And that's what all human beings want, is love and connection.
Absolutely. And I do think it gets ignored a lot. I definitely celebrate you and your partner Abby for coming in and working with me. And we actually what we will do is we can create a sex magic practice that you two can do together, and a partnership. And then we really harness our sexual energy to create when we do it with a partner. So I celebrate the both of you for being willing to go there and look at your connection, and how do we both get what we want out of this relationship and this life, and how do our desires play such a big part of that? Because you're absolutely right, it's so ignored, isn't it? Like, especially when we become a parent, and especially when we become maybe a wife, and a mother, and we hit a certain age, and we kind of hit this point where we're not really allowed to have a sexual side of ourselves. And if we do, oh gosh, it's so scandalous. And I do think that if we have spaces where we're not, in the past, it was always, oh, don't talk about that. There's some things need to remain private. Like, you cannot talk about this in public. And I think, unfortunately, the damage we're doing is on a small scale, we're normalizing people being dissatisfied with their relationships because that's all you're allowed to do. If you talk about sex, we have this cultural understanding that you're only allowed to whinge about your connection and how bad your relationship is with your partner. Like, we do not leave space for someone to be sexually satisfied and to celebrate that with their friends. Like, people do that and they're ostracized. Like, oh my gosh, what? You have time for sex? What? Who are you? And it's this like, how
in my networks and my communities, we definitely talk about that, and and do celebrate. It's something that I honestly have done since I was a really young age. I just felt so comfortable talking about it. It wasn't something that I grew up with in my household. It wasn't shunned upon or anything, but I just innately felt super confident talking about everything and anything. But yeah, you're right. I got met with so many boundaries, and people like, how can you talk about that and how can you share that? And for me, it's like, well, why would you not? Why would you not talk about these beautiful connections that you can have and learn from it and understand it? And, obviously with the right people, because if some people have different values and beliefs, but normalizing it, that, having sex, celebrating it, being intimate, connecting, having relationship coaches, it's not a bad thing. It's an actual exciting thing. And where that brings more joy into your life, that it's so important. We look forward to, we've had many coaches, and even if things are going really well, and they are most of the time, but we continue to have those coaches because that's time that we've locked away for working on each other. And that connective piece is just so important, and learning and speaking to other coaches around the place has really brought us this just forever growth. Like, we're always growing and learning together and wanting more and discussing more. And whereas like you said, the belief was, once you settle down, you have kind of kids, like, it's innately you get a bad sex life, or, just you don't have time for it, or you're tired. And that's the kind of conversations that we're having. But if we lead with a different way, how amazing the connection's going to be. Sex magic, hey, it's just, it's a different energy, and I love it. I think I'd love to talk about a little bit diving into your book, because I think we have a similar storyline. So for those listening, Cara West has a beautiful book. It's How to Be Naked, and it is delicious. I've read it cover to cover. But How to Be Naked, I used to run barrel workshops with a beautiful best friend of mine, Crystal, and we'd go down to Maslin's. Like, we would encourage women to work on their emotional state first, and go through a process of loving, and then encourage them to go down to our unclad beach here in South Australia, our naked beach, and they could strip off to whatever they felt comfortable in, whether it was, underwear, be around other naked people, whether it was topless or fully nude, and we'd have a beautiful photographer capture the moments. And when I rebranded the kids coach, I took that all down because I was honestly terrified of being pigeonholed or judged for being a naked woman, in my own other life, and then also working with kids. But I'd love to hear about your experience with, loving your body, because I see your posts, and being naked, and your experience of being in places that are public naked, because again, that's something that people, hopefully we're going to be blowing people's minds here today. Let's just be real. So yeah, I'd love to know your experience, if you want to explain a little bit of that and how that's helped you.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to know your journey too. And yeah, can we do that first? Can you, when you mentioned these workshops you used to hold, like, was that something that you had to work through, like getting comfortable being naked around other people, or is it just something that you saw people needed?
So I have always been quite confident in regard to certain performances and pieces. In my 20s, I did burlesque. I went and learned, and I performed because I wanted to try it. I wanted to challenge myself. So I did a few like small intimate like burlesque dancing pieces, and even a little showcase. But through that, the pole dancing community in my younger days, I was still comparing myself. I was very judgmental of my body, up and down in weight, not really into the self-love. And it wasn't until I just one day had a calling. I was like, I'm going to Maslin's naked. And I've been naked in front of people before, but it's not that. But I'm going to Maslin's. And I went, And I went with one of my friends and we took photos and I just loved it. And honestly, I can still remember it from that day forward. I have never said to my body that I dislike her or she's fat or she's ugly, because the click of just loving my body and having the confidence to give it, like, not give a fuck and be there in my full expression, with nothing to hide, really, be frolicking in the beautiful nature and in the water. That's what kind of birthed the idea for the Bear workshops, because it just had such a different click. It had such an energy. I had the calling to do it. And so then we journeyed and we took, we did the workshop 3 or 4 times, maybe, I can't even remember. And it was beautiful to take women through that same journey of coming to that place of loving your skin, like loving the outside as much as you love the inside, or vice versa, or working on the both.
Yes.
Bringing the combination. And I mean, I still have my moments where I have my little bits of self-doubt, but I don't call myself fat. I can look at my body. I adore it. I perv on myself. I say this every single day. Like, I'll find something that I'm really excited about, and that makes me feel good. That's the thing. I can, take a gym selfie, look at my butt, look at my smile, something. I'll be like, oh, yeah, you got this, girl. And that, teaching that to my daughter is so important, and to others, to find something that it can't just be something you say either. Can't be like, oh, I'm so gorgeous, if you don't believe it. It's got to be something that you're like, hey, look at my juicy ass today, or rocking that, whatever it is that, my back muscles, if I've just worked out, or something like that. But saying those things that genuinely mean it. Because if you don't love yourself, no one else is going to. Like, they're not going to see it that way. It's an energy.
Well, even if they do, because I don't think we have to love ourselves fully to let love in. Like, people can love it, but we won't believe in. Because, and in my own story, my one of the most painful parts of my story, my husband actually got attracted to one of my best friends, and this was before we are non-monogamous now, as you know. But this was before that, and it destroyed me. And we were just talking about it yesterday, my husband and I. This was years ago. How at the time I didn't stand up for myself, because my self-esteem and my self-worth were so low that it made sense to me. It made sense that he would be attracted to someone else, because I had 3 babies in 4 years. I was the most overweight I'd ever been. I was covered in spit up all day, every day, from a very, leaky sort of baby.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember those days. Yep.
Yeah. So it made sense. So I do think, and I tell my clients too, like, you're absolutely right. Find something, even if it's as small as your pinky fingernail, like something tiny. Find something to appreciate. And then that's a muscle that expands. I'm so glad I asked. I'm so glad to hear that you had the calling to go down to Maslin Beach, because that's one of the first things I did in my growth too. And that's how the book starts. So it starts with me being.
I know. That's why I wanted to connect with you with that, because I don't think I'd shared it with you before. But I was like, oh my God, we're soul sisters. It's beautiful. But yeah, please share your experience, because, I really believe any women listening to this, and men, this does go both ways, but listening to how to really listen to your callings and love this life that we have, this body, this life, this everything. So please share your journey to that beautiful naked beach.
And I do think we need definitely more room for men in these conversations. I think it impacts them just as much.
Yes.
And they're not allowed to talk.
Correct.
Like, you and I can sit and talk about being naked on a beach, and men don't really have the same opportunity. So, and I'm interested to know if anyone listening has ever felt a calling to go down to nudie beach, and maybe like, oh wow, I'm thinking it might be a thing. I'm thinking we can't be the only 2 people in Adelaide. Or in the
I think we need to organize another event. I think we need to organize another event and do it.
Yeah, sounds like it. And I'm super interested. I'll talk about my book a little bit in the story there, but I am super interested to bring this conversation into, like, how do you be a sexual human and also work with kids? Like, how are we navigating that now? So, I want to just like name that so I don't forget it, and put a pin in it and come back.
Yep, I'll pin that. I'll come back to that. But please share your story, because I think it's delicious.
Yeah. So, I wrote a book. So How to Be Naked is...
I know, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I can't believe it. I just published it in May, and oh my gosh, the journey I've been on since publishing it. I always knew that it would kind of establish me as an expert in my field, love, sex, and relationship coaching. But what I didn't recognize was happening was it's starting on the inside. So because I've done the work, because I've written the book, because I've gone through my story so many times, it's really helped me embrace myself as an expert in this. So it's been really cool. But it's about, the tagline is courageous stories of growth from a woman who's learned to trust herself. So in my own spiritual growth, my own journey of healing, which truly just started because I started freezing in my own life. I stopped having sex with my partner. I would only have sex because I felt guilty for not wanting it and to appease my husband, and because we got along better when we'd had sex, you know? So most of the time I would just get it done, just do it for him. And it didn't feel good. And I was always a very sexual person. I'm always, if you look at numerology, I'm a really low number. I think I'm a number 1. So that to me, and I don't know much about numerology, but it's just one of those little pieces of validation I've picked up along the way, and that my growth is going to come through my body. My growth is going to come through my body. I'm very grounded, and also my close relationships. That's from a different part of my personality. So my sexuality has always been really important to me. And when I became a mother and when I grew up, I lost it. And then it became clear to me over time that, oh, I've lost touch with myself. I've lost touch with my body. I have no access to my sexuality. I have no access to trust in my system. Similar, not to you, but on my journey, I was very confronted when I was in a group program from one of my friends, and she just asked us to look at ourselves in the mirror and reflect on what we saw. And I've always said that I like myself. Like, I would quite confidently tell you, oh yeah, I like myself. But given the chance to just look at myself in the mirror, I was filled with criticisms. And that made me so sad. And that was really a wake-up call to me. And I agree with, like, I got goosebumps when you said how you don't call yourself fat and you call yourself gorgeous, and especially in front of your daughter. Because I think so many of us grew up with parents, and mothers especially, who came from the time of, let's criticize ourselves. Let's criticize ourselves so much so that we can, change. We're not good enough how we are. Oh my gosh, we do not fit into the stereotype of what it looks like. And thank goodness now we're changing. So I'm so thankful to wake up to this, and so that my own daughters I don't criticize my body in front of them. I don't actually ever criticize my body anymore either. I've really come to love my body, and being naked to me is being comfortable in my actual physical skin, and also showing up and sharing my truth. So the next phase and what I didn't realize I was doing at the time, in showing up, sharing my truth, being comfortable in my body, I was slowly healing the trauma in my system. So I did experience childhood sexual abuse. And that's what How to Be Naked is about. It is about every story I've collected in the last 5 years that contributed to my healing. And part of it was flying back to the States, where I'm initially from, to tell my parents about the sexual abuse, because they never knew, because I hid it. Because I don't know. I don't even know why I hid it. But once I started hiding it, I couldn't stop, because I convinced myself I didn't need it. I convinced myself that I was going to heal from this, and I didn't have it that bad, and so many other people had it worse. And I convinced myself I was fine and I didn't need to look at it. Turns out things don't heal that way. Our natural state is healing, but if we don't actually stop to look at it and pull it out into the light, it's never going to heal. So it is a journey of healing. I do say that I've healed the trauma in my system now, even though I think trauma healing is a lifelong journey. I have healed it enough right now to be aware. I can see when I'm reacting in a trauma response now, and I can shift what I'm doing, and I can shift the narrative, and I can take full responsibility for how I'm reacting to any one given moment. And that to me tells me that I've healed the trauma in my system enough to exist.
I love that, because being so comfortable in speaking your truth, like it brought flashbacks and memories of so many times that just randomly when I was a beauty therapist, people would get naked for whatever service they were having, a spray tan or a waxing or whatever. Yeah. And the funniest thing was, even if they were brand new clients or, ones that I'd seen a few times, the stories that they would say when they were naked were just so beautiful, because it is that, it's shedding that layer and being totally comfortable. And I was just having flashbacks, like it goes hand in hand. There's something about shedding the layers and being able to really speak your truth. There's something in that. It's just so, so powerful. And I was thinking back many times of how that has come about, like, in literal naked conversations, the truth bearing and the being able to witness that. So special. I think that's why it is so, there are so many nudists and the nudist beach and places like that. It is so healing, because it's that literal energy of shedding the layers to heal.
Yeah.
And it allows that, to be, because you're totally seen.
Yeah.
Yourself and others.
Yeah. And it is wildly vulnerable, but real vulnerability is what leads to the connection that we're all desiring. So, and I've been
all craving,
wildly rewarded every time in my life I've been willing to show up and be vulnerable with people close to me. I've been wildly rewarded that we get so much closer. So it's so I'm so thankful to be on this journey and to have, started walking the path. And it's been wildly painful, clearly, because you don't feel your trauma without going in to feel the pain left by it. But to know to know that, and to know, like, okay, I can do this. I can hold this pain. I can feel this pain. And what's on the other side of this pain is joy and authenticity and beauty and love and laughter and bliss and ecstasy, because I do genuinely believe that every human, our natural state is kindness and compassion and connection. And it's the trauma that pulls us out of that. So.
Correct. The fear, the blocks, the rest. Yeah, I love that. It just goes so hand in hand, and yet we forget, and it's such a natural thing. I remember, being in change rooms, and, certain girls, scared, they, hide themselves. Or I think I was even in like a really posh change room once, trying on bridesmaid dresses, and, I'm just there totally comfortable. And this is very young days, completely stripping down naked. And, some of these girls are like, just so uncomfortable. And you just think about what that does to the nervous system and the beliefs and the shame or the feelings or the emotions that they're battling with when they, don't want to be seen. So it starts with you guys. You don't have to always go to the nudist beach, but it does start with self and looking in the mirror and being naked in your own home. I love sunbathing in the backyard naked. Like, do things like that for yourself, because it literally is, for you, for that connection piece, and it genuinely brings you joy.
Yeah. And so, I agree. I don't think being naked in public is for everyone. It's about, so for me, it's about finding your comfortable edge and pressing it just a little bit. So for me, that was like, I've always been comfortable in my own home by myself, walk around naked. And for me, I really did need to step out and be naked in a safe space outside of my home, or safe enough. To expand my edges and to grow. And one of the most beautiful experiences, one of the most empowering experiences I've ever had, was I was at a retreat in Costa Rica, and I was in a room of 100 women and non-binary humans. Everyone was naked. And it was so empowering, because there was not a single body in that room that was not gorgeous. Once we peeled away the layers and everyone was naked, we're on such much more even footing than when we're clothed. And I feel like we think it's opposite. I feel like we believe that it's the clothes that bring us, more similar to one another, because we're all aiming at the same beauty standards that exist, truly. But without the clothes, everyone's different. Everyone's different, and everyone's beautiful. And it was just so empowering to see, like, oh my gosh, we are all stunning. And it's the little things just that gorgeous. We might judge imperfections in ourselves that make us the most beautiful, that I appreciate in other people. So, a very cool experience.
I love that. Two drop-ins for me that came through that when I was just listening to you. You're right. It's not everybody's cup of tea to, to go to, be naked in a public setting. But but I love the fact that, you know, pushing those boundaries. And so for my wife, Abby, she went to those burial retreats, but she was my support crew, and she was very uncomfortable even seeing other people naked, especially men. It's just not her thing. But she did it, and again, and pushed that challenge and supported me, and, you know, had to put tents up in the nudist part, and it was really, really cool. But, you know, even that was enough for her to, you know, celebrate and understand, you know, the mission and what we were doing.
Oh.
And
Abby,
and then I love the fact that you
go to those.
I know she does. And then I love the fact that you said about picking on your insecurities. And so for anybody who is watching the YouTube version of this, I'll show you. I have this tooth that kind of sits behind. I'm 43. I never bothered with braces. I don't have straight teeth. And I have this one tooth that sits behind. And when Abby and I were first together, I thought, oh, maybe I will go get braces and, you know, or veneers and just get it all sorted. And she's like, no, that's your sexy tooth. And I was like, what? She goes, no, that's your sexy tooth. And so from then on, I'm like, okay, well, she loves it. And it just completely rewired my belief of my smile and my teeth. And so, yeah, I love that. You know, what you sometimes like criticize or see as a flaw or something that you're not so happy with, somebody else just admires and thinks is so goddamn sexy. Like, you know, your juicy butt or your, you know, your dimples or whatever it is, you know.
We definitely
body
need
is
to be complimenting the people we love more, because it's love heals, and that's just genuine appreciation for someone else can rewrite our whole story. That's amazing. I love that. Thanks for sharing.
100%. 100%. And never like give compliments more. Like, you know, people, you think sometimes, you know, the most gorgeous or beautiful people already know. And so I had this prejudgment, and I was perving on this guy at the gym for months. He was really like, you know, top notch body, face, you know, had a spray tan. His hair was perfect, smile, everything was beautiful. And one day I finally had him at the water cooler, and I just told him, I said, oh my God, mate, like seriously, like the work that you're doing in your body, like you're stunning, like your hair, you're tan, like I can see it all, like good on you. And he was so taken aback. He's like, really? No one's ever told me that at the gym before. And I was like, oh, and I had accidentally prejudged because I thought he had, like he knew, like I thought he had a bit of it, and he didn't. He was just so humble. So give those compliments to everybody. And it's only when they're genuine though.
Yes, of course. Yeah, genuine. And I had this epiphany just recently that dropped in that is perfectly in line with what you just said. So I think when we give people compliments, I do think we need to be giving, especially our partners and the people closest to us, compliments more, because we know them the best and we know which compliment to give them that's going to hit in just the right spot and like lift them up so much. And I do think we need to be doing more of it. But I do think we're doing it wrong. I think we've got it wrong in that most of the time we're going to compliment a woman on how she looks and something she's wearing and maybe a piece of jewelry we like and her hair and things like that. And most of the time we're going to compliment men on something they've thought or said or done or created. But so your compliment to that man was beautiful because it's actually opposite. So men's sexuality is most of the time located within their body. So their sex centers are their positive charge. So that means for men, they're going to get turned on by being approached sexually, by complimenting their bodies.
There we go. He'll remember me.
Whereas Whereas for women, our positive charge is in our heart. And I do say most because obviously it's not going to fit for everyone. We are, you know, not everyone's going to fit a sort of specific pattern, but it's a place to start, right? So for most women, our positive charge is in our heart, which means that we're actually going to get much farther with women if we compliment things they've created, things they've made, things they've done that we notice. And then, because women's turn on starts outside of their body and then works its way in. So to turn on a man, you go right to the sex center. To turn on a woman, you start by a compliment. And I think we'll get much farther if we compliment their things they're making and things they're thinking and things they're doing. And then we go to their external limbs. And then we get to work into maybe more erogenous zones. So men's sexuality starts in their body. Women starts outside of their body. So I do think we're doing it wrong when most of the time we think of complimenting women. And I can see how it happens too, because we would give a compliment to someone that we would appreciate giving. So for women, we're going to give a man a compliment on something that he's doing and thinking, because we would appreciate that. And for men, they're going to give a comment based on how they look in their body, because it's what they would appreciate getting. So you did.
So interesting.
So that's just an epiphany that dropped in for me.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely more a masculine energy, because I would rather you compliment my body and my looks to turn me on than something that I've done. But yeah, definitely for Abs, really compliment her energy, her behavior, something that she's done around the house. 100%. I love that. Tap in. So yeah, really knowing your partner's love language and what to compliment on, because we would, like, I mean, if I was complimenting my, another male or something like that, it probably would be, thanks for fixing that thing or doing that thing for me or blah, blah, blah. It wouldn't normally be a, hey, you're so good looking type of thing.
Like platonic friendship. Like, we don't have much room in our society for platonic showings of love and affection, which is such a shame, because it's such a beautiful way to connect with people. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I've really learned in my late 30s and 40s now that the intimate relationships that we can have in our friendships are so beautiful as well. Like, you can ask your best mate for a massage and you can have cuddles and hold hands and do all of that, whereas we're so taught not to. And, it just makes such a divine thing when you can be so comfortable within your own body to ask for that. Like, I've had the best, like, cuddle puddles with, just, beautiful people that are just my friends, and innately, human beings need touch and cuddles, and so beautiful. But yeah, again, if you say that to somebody who's not ever experienced that, they're like, oh, that's weird. You only touch or hug or, kiss your intimate partner. And it's like, well, it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
But so let me go back to the question that you did have, because we have divulged into lots of beautiful, intimate and juiciness. But how do I, express my own sexuality, and, my own non-monogamy and even, my past and in my sexuality, and compared to being a kids coach. It's something that I really just now feel like I have the courage and the strength to face. And so with these podcasts, they will get juicier and juicier, because there are all parts of me and all parts are welcome. And like I said before, if any part's denied, then it literally does suffer on my own mental, physical, and emotional health. Where I wasn't confident enough to do that before was wearing many masks and compartmentalizing. Now, in my, own, coaching world, private clients or, really close friends, they know how sexual I am, how open I am, how outspoken, how, in all those ways. But I was very terrified after pitching myself as the kids coach that someone would judge me, and I'm sure maybe someone will. But they are two very separate things. I am a mother, I've got 3 beautiful children. And, working with children, that's clothes on. That's a different energy. That's a beautiful place. But if I'm not a happy human, then how am I going to bring love and connection and patience and presence to not only my own children, but the children that I'm working with?
Yeah.
And if I'm denying that part. And so, yes, they are 2 very separate enterprises. And if I even have considered, after all the study I've done, diving into sex therapy, because, the amazing healings I've had as a woman. But it's a hard place to kind of divulge, and not a lot of psychologists or, people that work with kids talk about the both, I suppose. And in this world, in this beautiful coaching world that I've created, I do have this platform, and I do feel very strongly about sharing every part of that. So from my addiction, I share that, relevance of age with kids. I share my journey into the LBGIT community in pan and bisexuality. Again, with parents' consent as well, depending on the ages. But if I'm working with adults, I can share this stuff. My own trauma, my own abuse that I've been through, all those types of things have made me the best human I can be, because if I've learned something from it, why would I not share it?
Yeah.
And, and diving into the polyamory world and just learning about who I am at 43, I denied so much of myself because I was told I was selfish, or you always want more and it's not okay. And like you said, denying those parts really had played so much on my own mental health. And so bringing this beautiful platform to place, like, I just wanted to dive into it with whatever coaches and touch base on it, because if it's affected me, it's affected somebody else, you know, and they're probably denying a part of their self because of a story or restriction that they think they have, whether it's, you know, pole dancing or burlesque or, you know, being naked on a beach or, you know, the sexual play that you have with your partners or whatever. All of it is relevant to being super happy, and some parts might be relevant to you and some parts might not, but finding your safe people to express those needs. And that's what I've done in all my communities. Like I have you in this beautiful, you know, sex therapy coaching. I have beautiful people in my, you know, breath work and meditation circle. I have, you know, beautiful people in the kids world and the coaching world. I have so many different communities, and each part I just love, you know, and they some of it cross mingles because, you know, we're all, you know, women and the rest, but some don't either. Some don't cross. So I don't know if that's a long-winded way of explaining, but yeah, denying any part of myself was really, really affecting me. And so now I honestly feel like I have the strength and the courage to talk about it, and hopefully encourage other women to literally live their life to the fullest. You know, don't deny any part of you, whether it's you want to have a business, if you want to have more kids, or you want to have the best sex life ever, or whatever it is. You know, you are entitled, like you said, to so much joy.
What a beautiful walking permission slip you are for women who are, you know, wondering if maybe they could embrace a certain aspect of them more, or maybe who feel like, oh no, I can't do this because of this reason. Like to have someone who is vocal about their relationship ups and downs and their addiction ups and downs and their sexuality, and, you know, and also out there working with kids, like with a beautiful permission you are for people to embrace all of themselves. And you're so right. I've had a similar wake up call in my own life where I was at an all women's sex party called Skirt Club. And I had a moment in time, and this is in the book as well, where I wanted to share just a little story about my kids. And I stopped myself and I was like, oh, is that allowed here? Like, this is a sexual space. Am I allowed to mention that I'm a mom? And I was like, fuck it. I'm doing it. And as soon as I just mentioned, like, just quick, oh, da 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 da, whatever it was, the woman next to me just let out this big sigh of relief. She's like, oh, thank God. I wasn't sure. I didn't know if I was allowed to be a mom in this space, you know? So we do. And that learned, no, everywhere I go, all of me is welcome. And that's been one of the biggest aspects of my life. Everywhere I go, all of me.
Oh, I got tingles.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's going to be that's resonating from head to toe, Cara. That's going to be my new catchphrase. Like, everywhere I go, all of me is welcome. And I got tears because it's something that every single human hides. They hide a part of themselves, and it causes so much pain.
Oh yeah, we hide so many parts of ourselves, especially from our partners, because they matter the most. You know, a lot of people are afraid that if they truly share their desires with their partner, they're going to be abandoned, you know? But I think it's really important to realize that our partners are not our parents. You know, when we were kids, our caregivers, if we upset them, we did run the risk of being abandoned, and our lives were at risk because kids need to be taken care of by an adult. And one important thing to realize as we grow up is our close friendships and our close partnerships and the close relationships we choose to have in our life, we will not die if they do not accept us. And it's wildly painful and wildly confronting. And also, if we face that fear and we reveal part of ourselves that maybe we're not even accepting ourselves, chances are we're going to pull in the relationships even better and even closer than our wildest dreams.
Correct.
So, I love it. I love it.
Correct.
For everyone.
This work is just this work is just so powerful. You know, like you said, like every layer, every vulnerability, every share does bring in that chance of deepening those relationships. Number one, with our partners, but with our friendships too. And I am so grateful and proud for the people that I've met along this journey, and being able to have these conversations and unpack them in such a beautiful, emotionally intelligent way, and be held and not judged. And so I guess my message that I reiterate to anybody that is listening, if you are feeling alone in any of your thoughts or feelings or your home, there are so many places and spaces to go meet your next best friend, your next soulmate, your next whoever. Like, I have not met I have met the most profound and close people in my lives in the last 4 to 5 years from doing this work, from rocking up to a workshop, to going to an ice bath, to, and they seriously are the loves of my life, my best friends and other, and, obviously abs, but please keep exploring and keep, being curious. And like you said, asking from the universe for all that we are, able to access and call in.
Yes, there is absolutely, I would just reiterate that there is absolutely no need to ever feel alone in any wants, needs, or desires, because there's a lot of flipping people on this earth, and you just need one other to connect with on one similar level, and boom, that's all we need. So I would definitely reiterate that, how important it is to find your community, find your tribe, keep looking and showing up at things, and whether you find them online or in person, like there's definitely people out there that have similar wants, needs, and desires that can just help you feel seen and understood and validated, and then the growth that comes from those spaces is amazing.
Yeah, it is. And we do have this beautiful technology now. Like when I was looking for this kind of help and trying to work out who I was in my 20s, there wasn't podcasts or Facebook sites or communities to go meet up on. It was like writing a thing in the paper. I'm a bisexual woman looking for someone with a partner. Like there was nothing. There wasn't Facebook. There wasn't Tinder. There wasn't, we do have, a wealth of, resources and places and spaces these days to go looking if you haven't found your safe community. So I strongly encourage that. Yeah.
Facebook groups, and there's always people to connect with. Always.
There is.
Well, I think, babe, was that the first time that you've like stated point blank like that you're in a polyamorous relationship?
I think if this one goes to air, this would probably be the absolute first time. I don't think I had a very juicy one with my best mate Aaron, but I don't know if it's going to air because he was in overseas, and we're trying to work it, buffer it out. I did ask Abs if I can start talking about non-monogamy and if she'll ever be on the podcast and where we've gone to, but it is. It's a journey, and like you said, though, the most confronting thing was talking to my wife about all the things that were going on with me. I jumped from a heterosexual relationship where I was allowed to play and swing and be bisexual to a monogamous relationship with a beautiful woman that I fell so in love with. And then those needs started creeping in. I was like, oh, I am bisexual. What is that?
Yeah.
So hopefully Abs will be on the podcast one day and we'll talk about some of the things that we've been through. But honestly, through all the heartache, all the pain, the continual being able to show up for each other and talk things out and communicate with love has deepened our relationship in such a beautiful level. And we're still learning, obviously, from you and others. And and it is having the courage to be so honest, and Abs is my person that I'm 1,000% honest with about every single thought that I possibly have.
Yeah, beautiful.
So,
celebrating you.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
What has been like the favorite part of yourself you've met since opening up to your sexuality and your, self as a sexual being and non-monogamy and bisexual, and it's a favorite part of yourself you've met?
Ready to transform your passion into a profession? There's a link in the show notes to book a 30-minute Zoom call with me. It's just a short conversation to see if the program aligns with you. What we're really looking for is to determine how you can fulfill your goals and start your own journey as a kids coach today. Visit thekidscoach.com.au booking page, the Kids Coach with a Z, to build a business that's not only successful, but is enriching and heartfelt. It changes lives and it starts with you. I honestly think it's the cheeky confidence that I have.
Yeah.
Like just being able to say it as it is and put it out there. I love that. And it is just it's something that I've always had. It's a bit of sass. It's just confidence. And when it's met with people that understand it or would hold space for it, it's beautiful. And every now and then I'll throw it in somewhere where it's it's confronting, so I shock people. But yeah, it's having that real connection to my desires and being able to say them straight out. I'm very confident, and so in that space, like, there's no holds back. And I love it. Like, I love that cheekiness and that, you know, that ability to just innately be myself. Yeah.
Cool. And I do think that,
well, thank you.
I think a woman who owns her truth is the most confident being there is, because suddenly everyone worries about being questioned when we share our truth. For the woman who knows her truth, doesn't care. Like, the criticism can come in. We can trigger people. We can be confrontational to people. It doesn't fucking matter, because you're like, I'm just living my truth. Your thoughts don't actually impact that. So it's so empowering and so just like the most richest form of confidence. So go you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to exploring it now that, you know, putting it all out there as well. Like, I think there's some other courses and things that I want to do, and, you know, practices that I want to learn. But yeah, it is a beautiful place and space, and I do get to share that with Abs, which is just divine.
Cool. Well, yes, I think we'll definitely have to do a whole nother podcast where maybe I can even come on and ask you and Abby all the polyamory questions.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I wonder if she would let us record that, like a little mini session, and yeah, get some stuff out of it. I do love her, and she's growing so much, but she's a bit camera shy. But we never know. Never know what we manifest. We'll put that out there. But honestly, it's been such a beautiful time having you on, Cara. Like, we could chat for hours. Please go look up my beautiful friend, Cara West. All her details will be underneath. And, you know, get her book if you are so cool, because it's delicious. And yeah, thank you again so much for being on and sharing your sex magic and your energy. And everybody that's listened to this, I'm sure they've felt something along the way. So
yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you.